All right, welcome back, everyone, to Sekou's Bunch. I'm Monty.
Oh, I'm Gage. I guess that's how we're doing this. We're learning.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm heartbroken. Welcome to the podcast.
Well,
So this week we are recapping episode 3 of Survivor 40, Winners at War. Ooh, a lot happened. A lot happened.
yes, it did.
Who would like to start? Should we just start with tribal?
No, let's end with tribal. Let's start at the beginning. Let's go through this.
Okay.
Let's make sense.
A lot happened this episode, and for me, I think this was my favorite episode so far. I know that's not to go off of, but this was like everything I looked for in a Survivor. Like, good personal content, good funny moments, a really even spread of visibility of different players, a dynamic tribal. I was well fed.
Blackface.
Blackface.
That too.
That too.
I just add those two to the list.
Tony and Sarah.
Yep.
Okay, but so to wrap up some loose ends, at least from last week, I know we talked about what the hell happened with Denise and Adam's idol.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was glad that we got clarity that Denise had it through that whole open your purse.
Yeah, the whole debacle.
Yeah.
So that was good for me. I liked having that knowledge.
So let's think. So how did this episode start? It just started. Adam was sleeping. Boston Rob was flirting with resident lesbian Adam Klein and was like,
Oh my God.
tickle, tickle, tickle.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think how. Well, it started with Adam's thoughts on how the tribal, or I don't know about if it was on how the tribal went, but just Adam's been a pretty significant narrator on that tribe, so we kind of got more of Adam speaking, and going into the tribe dynamics, it looks like it's kind of just Rob and Harvey and Ethan kind of thrown to the bottom of a bit. Adam is kind of taking the reins of power, and Jeremy and Dad are kind of not really in a position. They're kind of just in the middle of it, watching on as Adam and I guess Denise at this point. Denise seems to be the right-hand woman right now. That seems to be the tribe dynamic at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, I don't. It seems pretty clear cut, at least from those first early minutes. Doesn't seem like too much was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only thing that is significant is that Adam does tell Ethan that he would like to target Parvati, and immediately he gets chastised for that by Ethan in confessional.
Mm-hmm.
And me from the other side of my screen, I was like, this whole episode, I'm just going to preface this whole episode with, what the hell was Adam doing any of this time? I don't think, like, he was in a good position of power, like you said, but I don't think there's really much he could have done to play this much worse than he did.
Yeah.
This specific round.
Conspiracy theory, Adam Klein and Angelina Keeley knew each other. That's how Angelina knew Adam before this game. Angelina gave Adam crack before Winners at War, and he was just snorting some of Angelina's coke.
Whatever she gave him, it wasn't that good shit.
It wasn't.
The good shit. It was tainted.
He decided to tell Boston Rob, who's notorious for having no filter when it comes to information given to him, and told him that he was voting out his closest ally.
He told the person he's voting out, he told her two closest allies. Both. He told them both.
It has been, not a good episode for Adam. I think, period. I think we can get to that a little bit more when we actually get to kind of the tribal scramble.
Yeah.
But the episode is set up to kind of show Adam in this power position, and I think that the episode definitely did a good job of doing a precursor to a possible fall of Adam.
Yeah.
Because this was a bad episode for Adam. He is lucky he was not turned on and is being given another chance by his allies, because holy shit.
That was bad.
Isaac, do you have any feelings on the Sele tribe, their dynamics, how they were doing at the start of the episode?
I have a lot of opinions, but I don't feel like it. Yeah.
Okay. We'll get to when we get to the tribal. Isaac will take it over. All right. So let's.
Should we talk? Oh,
go ahead. No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, should we talk about the other tribe and like get them out of the way before we come back?
That's what I was gonna say.
We could, and what was going on the edge too, which I think.
And
what happened on the edge definitely pertained to Dekal. I also just want to point out that this is the first thing I'm thinking of, which I think is a good color of where my mind is when it comes to the Dekal tribe. But my first thought was, I literally do not remember seeing him Fradlin's face one time.
Oh, Nope. Not even in the challenge, not around camp, not walking into the challenge, nothing. Full on INV right there. Like,
there's quite a few people that were INV from Dekal. I think Kim was, Wendell was. Nick had like that 2-second confessional where he went like that, and that's all he got tonight. That's all he's gotten this season so far.
I feel like Sophie wasn't around that much.
Sophie
might have gotten like
confessional.
Name checked at some point by like Yule.
Yeah.
But she was not.
It
was Yule, Sandra, Tony, Sarah, like that, and Tyson.
Yeah.
Like it was those five, and everyone else was like irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
I think the content that we did get from Dekal, though, was important content, because I think it is setting up some players for their potential storylines moving forward.
Yeah. And like, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the content they gave Tyson seemed very intentional. The content they gave Tony seemed very intentional. Obviously, Sarah had a big story arc this episode with her Edge of Extinction mission that she had to go on.
Monty. Oh my gosh. Okay. No, let's talk about this first, and then my thought will fit in better later.
Okay.
Never mind.
So I was just gonna say, I mean, there was a lot they had to show this episode with that big boat, how it flipped multiple times, the Edge of Extinction. They had to show Sarah sneaking into camp, etc. The immunity challenge. There's a lot they had to show, and the challenge, and yet they still showed personal content on Dekal.
Yeah.
They still showed like Sandra catching fish and everything else. Tony whaling a shark in his hands like a madman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is a bold prediction or not, but just based off the content we're getting from both these tribes, I do think the winner's coming from the red tribe.
Yeah.
I do too.
I think because they needed, like you said, they needed nothing. But okay, this was my thought, so it does actually fit in right now. But specifically with Sarah's mission, there was no reason for Tony to be involved in that.
No.
There was zero reason for Tony to be included anywhere in there. It's not like we saw the charcoal on Sarah's face later and we're like, how the hell did that get there? Like, we didn't even see it. It was literally, I think, just to build up a storyline for Tony. So off of this episode, I'm really high on Tony right now because he had that ladder scene, he had this scene, and what did you want to say, Gage?
Oh, did you see that people on like Reddit and Twitter and everything think they might have included it because the date it aired was on Ash Wednesday, so she was basically rubbing ashes on Sarah's forehead.
I did not see that. That's
hilarious coincidence.
Black Friday or Black Face, Ash Wednesday, and Tony content.
Yeah. From the
Conservatives' wet dream.
No, the amount of positive. I just want to add the amount of positively toned content that Tony has gotten just in the first few episodes is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, he's my top. He's one of, if not my number one top winner contender right now. If I had to go off of the first few episodes.
Yeah. Same. Especially after that last one. That last episode, I came away and I was like, Tony's winning.
Yeah. And
yeah,
Isaac, do you think Tony's winning?
Was that Isaac?
That was me, but I'm asking Isaac if he thinks Tony's winning.
Does it matter? Does it matter anymore?
What Ethan would want you to say right now?
Remove me from the podcast. I'm sorry.
Like we did to Pippa. We didn't even mention that Pippa's.
Oh my gosh.
We fired Pippa for being a woman.
We fired Pippa for being violently racist.
Yeah.
We fired Pippa for standing Ben.
No, Pippa is
fired
doing something proactive with her life right now at a theater conference and pursuing her life dreams. So we all wish Pippa the best of luck, except maybe Isaac.
I don't.
Yeah.
Love you, Pippa.
We love you, Pippa. So sad Pippa's not here.
For a lot of reasons.
For a lot of reasons.
Isaac, you're gonna have to fill Pippa's void once we get to tribal then.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I will. I've already got a drawing of Michele ready to go.
No. Okay. Okay. Is there anything else we want to talk about with the call and everything else before we head over? Because I mean, after that, it's just go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like a couple things. I feel like like what you were saying before. I didn't really think about this before until it was said. Like, the chances of the winner coming from DeCall is getting higher and higher because, like, for me, I feel like they didn't have to edit DeCall. They didn't have to give them, as much content as they did. I mean, I think the official confessional count that came out was more than half the tribe had at least 3 confessionals, which is crazy. And I think it was a really well balanced edit for the episode. But like, I just look at tribes like in recent Survivor, like Kama and Navidi, where like there was no point to edit most of those people, and Survivor was very transparent about that. I think they are leaving it very open-ended with who the possible winner is this season, which makes me really happy.
Good.
There's only, I would really say the only people close to purple right now are Nick and Wendell, and that's out of a 20-person cast where no one's been technically eliminated yet. They are guzzling 20 people.
Yeah.
And Michele.
Before we get to Michele, let's talk about Edge. Are we? Oh wait, no. I had something to say before we get to Edge. I had something to say. I think Sandra is doing a lot better than people originally thought she did, and I think she's going to go further than people thought she was going to go. Because again, like Tony, why give her the content about like this is my 5th time I'm trying to change my strategy, and like show her changing her strategy and showing the positive effects that it has on the relationships around her. Like, again, if she's gonna go like pre-merge, if she's gonna go like not be an important character in the merge, then like bye. but it's almost
Yeah.
feels like to me sort of like Suri in Game Changers, how it's like even though she's a super experienced player, they're sort of giving her like the growth edit almost.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
and so like I don't think she's gonna win. I still don't think she's gonna win, but I think she's gonna go a lot farther than people originally expected her to.
I
And
think
I'm
she's
happy.
gonna merge.
Mm-hmm.
They're still setting up in the edit. It's going to be at some point Sandra versus Boston Rob, whether
Yeah.
that be at an eventual inevitable swap, or at the merge, etc. They're going to come face to face at some point. And just to piggyback off Monty, yes, Sandra does have an idol that came from the Edge and everything else, but I do think she'd be doing as well as she was even without all that jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just doing the damn thing. And
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, like, if Red goes back to tribal, because spoiler, they're not swapping next step. Holy crap!
Mm-hmm.
Who's do you think it's Tyson at this point?
Shit, I hope so. Kill off my draft. Sorry, go ahead.
So my answer for Tyson actually is I don't know who it would be, but I have a feeling it's not going to be Tyson because I feel like the way Tyson was portrayed to us this episode, the way he spoke to the camera, I feel like Tyson is potentially getting set up for an underdog.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like any. Like, here's the thing. People who are voted out in the first handful of tribals who get a lot of content usually get that amount of content because they're a big character or they have a lot of influence in like the first one or two tribals they go to or they're polarizing or whatever. Tyson has been very middle of the road, even keeled, but they're still giving him content, even though he's not the biggest character on that tribe. So I feel like if they were going to vote him out in the next tribal or two, and that's the story we get, I just feel like Tyson has more of a story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I don't know who they'd vote out because I don't think they would do Sandra either. I feel like Sandra is getting that Suri growth at it, which that's not something I thought about before. I have a feeling it could possibly be him. If you want to follow up on that.
To Tyson's whole underdog edit, I could see him getting voted out and then coming back from the Edge too. Like I could see that as a potential thing. Isaac, do you wanna say something?
No, I don't want to say anything.
Isaac's in mourning.
I literally am, but we'll go more into that like later.
Okay. So let's talk about Edge real quick,
Edge,
unless we're more. All right. Who wants to start? Monty.
Hot take. I like Edge more this season by a lot than I did the first season. I'm still not the biggest fan of what it's like the game implications, but I'm finally seeing like Jeff's storytelling aspect, and I think that's mostly just because they're lying to each other, which I like. But that's like about it. And I like them.
I would like it if the eps were 90 minutes.
Yes.
If the eps were 90 minutes, I would not have a problem whatsoever. But the fact that the eps are 60 minutes and it's cutting into everything else, and like Edge took up like close to 10 minutes, honestly.
Yeah.
Was it a quarter, maybe a fifth? That's a lot of content. Like, which I would like to see be utilized with the actual cast that's still in the game. I get the reason why they definitely used it this season was because in case like a big personality like Rob, Harv, Sandra, etc. got sent to Edge, it wouldn't be the last we get to see them. But yeah, I'm still not a fan.
If Australian Survivor can pump out 3 30-minute episodes a week, US Survivor can do one. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I to go off Gage, I don't like it. I would actually go as far to say as where we were at this point in season 38 with the Edge, who were the first 4 boots? It was Reem, Keith,
Chris and Devins.
Chris, yeah. Where we were at that point with the Edge, I enjoyed more just because, I mean, Reem was gold. It was at least, there was like a morbid curiosity with like there being this new thing in Survivor, and like when they did go to the sequences with the Edge of Extinction in those first couple of episodes, I did have a curiosity about it. This time, I know what the Edge of Extinction is. I know that it's not a secret to any of the players because Jeff told them at the beginning of the season, which I still think is stupid. And it's oversaturating the game with advantages. And while I do like, I'm gonna take what I can out of it and say I really like Natalie's content. I just the end is the worst part of the episode for me. I really wish it wasn't there. I feel like I literally sighed when they showed the little name tag at the bottom corner of the screen, Edge of Extinction, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna zone out because I don't care. And I'm trying to like it. I'm trying to give it a chance because I love Survivor, but I just I can't do it.
Isaac, do you have any thoughts on Edge of Extinction just in general?
Yeah. Like I feel like the only way, like, to me, Edge of Extinction works is like if it is like a season like this. I think a big drawback of like Edge of Extinction on like 38 was like we didn't know those people. We didn't have any real emotional attachment or investment. And they just kind of like sat there. Like, if I recall correctly, they didn't really have to, with the exception of like one time, they didn't really have to do any of the things, like go out and find an idol or whatever. But like, then again, I stopped watching halfway through this season. But I do think, the only reason it's back this season is because like we have an emotional attachment to like every single person playing.
Yeah.
Which is why. Yeah.
Jeff did reveal that they wouldn't have been able to nab at least a couple of the winners without a way to get back into the game. So I feel like that's something that has to be taken into account too. But it's also Jeff Probst, and he loves the Swift so much that I feel like he probably would have done it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they almost do it for Island of Idols too? Like
they did.
Didn't they almost?
Could you imagine if they like? Yeah, you probably were going to say exactly what I said, but like, could you imagine if like two tribes, Edge of Extinction, and going to visit Boston Rob and Sandra? Like,
and they were going to do a swap into 3 as well. So they were going to have 3 tribes, Island of Idols, and Edge.
It's just too fucking much.
Anyways, with that out of the way.
Oh, can I just? I do want to.
Yes.
On the end though, just to give a little bit of credit to Amber because it was a little fun. I'll admit it was a little fun watching Amber almost figure out something and then figuring out something that didn't exist. That was fun. She was trying.
Good for her. Golf claps for Amber.
For her.
We also got to see Danny catch a fish.
Yeah, Danny caught a fish.
I think
not gonna matter.
I think Danny's confessional, where she was like, if I can't take away anything else from this game, but I caught that fish and I grew. I think that's the last confession we're ever going to hear from
That's
Danny. I don't think we're ever hearing from her again. I think she's like, I got what I wanted out of this game and done. She is done.
I learned how to fish.
I agree.
Yes,
well, she technically
I learned how to fish for Purple, yeah.
I guess she evidently didn't get everything she wanted out of the season because she still has Ethan's name in her mouth on her Instagram.
Yeah, she's literally like attacking Ethan's on every chance she gets. It's funny.
You can put Danny on the list, Isaac.
He came in right after her. Like what? Did they?
We'll talk about that later.
She got or did she get the revenge she wanted? Does he come back? I don't think he does. But
wig.
He might.
Oh, we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But the one thing we've not talked about is Natalie finding whatever she wanted, or whenever she wanted the vote steal. The thing that had me the most shook, my jaw dropped twice this episode, and one of them was when Natalie realized it was the little shells in the string, and then she destroyed Amber's and Danny's, and then like tossed it in the woods. I was like, holy shit!
That was hysterical. I thought they weren't allowed to do that, but apparently they are, like, to destroy the property of, like, idol clues or whatever. But I guess they can. So
maybe they're winners. They're like, don't care.
They're like, do whatever you want. Take Tony with you.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Well, okay. Wait, I do have a quick question. I don't think Tony didn't go over to.
I think was it you I was having this conversation with yesterday?
It probably wasn't.
I had this conversation with someone else too. I'm like 98% sure Tony was at their camp. He just didn't walk into their camp. He was on the outskirts.
I don't think so. I think they just they showed that scene before Sarah left, and then Sarah left on the boat. I don't think production is that rigged.
Then why did it show them like creeping around with a stick like they were blind people?
Oh, can we talk about when Sarah gets to the camp and she sees Ben and just calls him, and I quote, "some guy." That was so
yes.
Some guy sleeping.
She probably didn't know it was Ben because it was so dark, but I would like to pretend that she knew.
I would like to pretend she didn't watch that season. She's like, Barney.
I'd like to pretend I didn't watch that season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I blacked out.
I know Andrew did talk to me about this. I don't find these sneaking into camp scenes interesting anymore because I know they're going to find it, especially after Vince did what he did last season. And a big reason why, and Andrew brought this to my attention, at night there's still camera crew and everything else. They're probably still walking around the island, so if they hear a noise or anything, they probably just think it's camera crew and don't think anything of it, not of another person actually, doing hood rat shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's for Gage that I think it's obviously just for the entertainment factor to be like, oh, this person's sneaking around camp, but they have an entire crew walking around snapping twigs the entire time. Like, I think it's pretty inevitable that they're gonna find what they want to find, and even if it's like, I don't know, like this could be a reach, but if Survivor is trying to set a precedent that they do one of these like sneak into camp things every season or two, then they set this precedent of like, oh, be on your toes even when it's nighttime. Someone can be sneaking into your camp. I don't think that's gonna happen. Like people, like what I'm trying to say, like future seasons being like, oh, someone could be sneaking into camp. Like, no, those bitches are sleeping. They're getting their rest. They were just in the sun all day. They just probably did a challenge. They're sleeping. That's it.
Yeah. Also, what are they gonna? My question is also, what's gonna happen if they get caught? Like, is it
they fucking beat the shit out of him?
Full body tackle. Boston Rob wakes up in delirium and goes, "Amber, is that you?" And then he full body tackles Sarah.
I like to think like she gets the advantage and she's like backing up and she just backs into Boston Rob, who's behind her. And then he's like, "Get her, girls!" And then they all beat her to death.
Parvati just like jumps her.
Parvati comes out with a torch and starts beating her, like clubbing her.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Boston
Black Widow
was sleepwalking, I'd like to preface.
Parvati's not.
Parvati's not. Parvati knows exactly what she's doing.
Alright.
That being said, Sarah did get a vote steal, so I guess that'll come into play at some point. I don't really care enough.
We love an oversaturation of advantages in games, and we're probably going to get like 2 advantage get-ins this season. Yay! I hate it.
It's not even worth me complaining about anymore. It's going to be like whatever.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before? The only thing I would like to say before we get to the tribal stuff is that the immunity challenge was like kind of fun this episode, just because it was so close. But
I never pay attention to immunity challenges. I'm always like, all right, time to check Twitter, time to check Tumblr, like during this. But I was actually like into it. Like,
Yeah.
I paid attention.
No, I was on my feet. I was literally on my feet, like freaking out because I wanted Sele to win.
You and me both, sister.
They just didn't pull it out. They're not a good tribe. Denise has only evaded tribal council once.
Ever.
Ever. Period.
Well,
and even that challenge, they almost lost. So it's like Denise was like this close to it, still attending every tribal, which is hysterical.
Well, you try competing with geriatric lesbians on your tribe and see how far you make into the game. Like, goddamn.
I think put Adam Klein on the list.
Put him on the list.
He's already on the list.
We called that guy a lesbian so many times now. It's just
Denise was the geriatric one.
Put her on the list.
Denise
on the
is
list.
more physically fit than any of us will ever hope to be, except for maybe Monty, because it has to whatever.
Also, since when did Boston Rob think he was good at puzzles? Like, what the fuck?
He's really good in the puzzles in the previous seasons he's on. Like, he's beasted the puzzles in his previous seasons. Not this time. He's not good.
I think he should stick to throwing bitches over giant rolling pins, and that's all I'm going to say about him right now.
Because that was funny.
That was funny, yeah.
I mean, it's not hard when you're competing. The people you're competing against in the puzzle is the cast of Redemption Island. So, like...
T.
Maybe-
Like, Ralph
maybe-
Kaiser. Sorry,
Maybe-
Andrew.
I have
Maybe it... Go ahead.
From a million years ago, and by a million years ago I mean like 30 minutes, but part of Adam's first confessional was, oh, this is all coming back to me now. Rob was getting negative content in the beginning of this episode because Adam was like, this isn't Redemption Island, you need to adapt. I think is like, I can't believe that sort of that because they protect Boston Rob so much. But they actually had some saying this isn't Redemption Island. And not been said about a lot of the other women. You haven't heard anyone say, this isn't One World, Kim. This isn't Pearl Island, Sandra. This isn't Ghost Island, Wendell. It's like, no, this isn't Redemption Island, Boston. They know. They know Redemption Island is bullshit. Adam knows. He might be a rat, but he is
But he knows.
a super fan. No. I like that they included that because Boston Rob is not a god, contrary to the popular belief of all of the emo
Pippa.
girls on Twitter who say they aren't like the other girls, of the middle-aged women that stand Boston Rob.
Yeah, just say Pippa. She's somehow both.
Pippa is somehow both. Those are
how
the
about
only
this?
Boston Rob stands I see. Those are the only stands I see are like middle-aged women and girls who are like, I'm not like the other girls.
And Jeff Probst.
And Jeff Probst.
How about this? Maybe Boston Rob isn't bad at puzzles. Maybe just Sophie is just a lot better than him.
No.
Yeah. Oh?
No. Sophie can't read.
Add her to the list.
Sophie, okay, but you don't need to read to do a puzzle. You remember in South Pacific when she, like...
No.
She,
I didn't watch that season.
okay, but she, Final Four Immunity, there was, like, a big physical thing and a puzzle, and Ozzy, like, finished the physical thing before her, and Sophie looked over at him and then looked back at her puzzle, and her puzzle was done, and they voted out Ozzy.
Good.
And that's the only reason
And-
she's not this season.
And never forget Final Tribal Council in South Pacific, where Sophie read Coach and said and called him the equivalent to a little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
And
moment
she was right to say it.
She can read
she can
at a
read.
5th grade level.
Reading is fundamental.
It sure is.
All right, let's get to the highlights.
All right, so with all that,
Are we ready for the picture?
Going into tribal, set the stage. Adam is a freak. Period. That's it. That's the only. No, Adam. Oh my god.
forget it.
Ella, don't do that to her. You know.
Oh, you haven't seen the whole thing yet.
Anyway,
Just continue. We'll get to it. Sorry.
so basically we have sections of Adam and Denise, Jeremy and Michelle. Ben, thank God, Ben didn't get a lot of content campaigning portion. Thank you. Then you have the old schoolers trio and Jeremy and Michelle. So, just that.
And Adam's acting a whole ass fool this whole time. Telling every single person, poverty. And
poverty, according to Ben.
Poverty.
Bitch, she got $1 million. She's not poor.
Yeah.
I think Adam should have kept his damn mouth shut.
Well, in hindsight, maybe it was okay what he did because Parv is still in the game. Isaac would disagree with me on that, but I would rather have Parvati still here. But the long story short, which we can all talk about, is the entire pre-tribal sequence. After that, all big comeuppance happened. They all went, well, we need to weaken Rob. You know what would weaken Rob?
Taking Rob out.
Rob.
Yeah. The whole time I was like, so, okay, here's my thing. The main advocate that we've heard for protecting Rob is Adam. The person that you're leaving out of the vote is also Adam. So why not just vote out Rob with the 4 instead of Ethan? Because it's not like I don't see Denise wanting to work with Rob. I don't see Jeremy wanting to work with Rob. I don't see Michele wanting to work with Rob. I don't see Ben wanting to work with Rob.
See, Ben even said at the beginning of the episode, I wish Rob was gone. He said that verbatim.
What were you going to say, Andrew?
Though, I don't know if any of you guys saw this. I wasn't going to send anything on it until the podcast to see if anyone saw it. But so Jeremy and Michele did have a watch party in Boston. And there was some stuff on Reddit about this, and one of our mutual friends of the podcasters, I'll just say Johnny, so you guys know Johnny, I just don't like giving him airtime, but he knew somebody who went to the watch party and heard at least a bit of things that we didn't see from Michele and Jeremy, and basically, and this wasn't shown on the show, and I have some feelings about that, because obviously there are some things they purposefully don't show. But apparently it was something to the effect of Michele was hoping to possibly work with Parvati later down the line, and also Jeremy wanted to keep Rob as a shield, so Ethan ended up being the compromise vote, which I wouldn't have known that about Jeremy and Rob because, nothing was shown to indicate that Jeremy wanted to keep Rob as a shield. And also, with Michele and Parvati, a little after the episode ended, I was kind of thinking, I feel like Michele didn't want the 4th person voted out in a row to be a woman, just because I feel like Michele probably thought that she could work with some of the women better. So I can see how Ethan landed on being the compromise vote, but that wasn't shown, really. So we're kind of left to our own devices on questioning what happened. Sorry, that was a very long spiel, but I wanted to get that explanation out.
That does make more sense, yeah. Yes, Isaac?
I ain't got nothing to say.
Oh my God, you said that the entire time. Now you...
I think a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Oh my God.
Are we ready to go over it, or do we want to go through
tribal
first?
We have some more beach stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Plenty of shit that happened on the beach.
Because we haven't even
Yeah, go ahead, Monty.
I was going to say, we haven't even talked about Michelle's moment.
That's what I was going to talk about.
We really have the same brain tonight.
I know. Like, I was gonna bring up, I'm not joking you, and this is not an exaggeration. I went back and watched the sequence from when Jeremy and Michelle walk off and bring up Ethan all the way up to pre-tribal, like that 2 minute period. I think I watched that 10 times today. And
And Michelle was the focal point of it.
Michelle was the focal point of it. Jeremy got no confessionals. Michelle led that entire sequence. But, like, the reason I kept watching it over and over again, I hope you guys appreciate this. I know Andrew probably would. The music they played in the background during this entire sequence, like, as soon as Michelle said Ethan, they came in with this really beautiful string arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after that, they show Michelle talking to Denise and Michelle talking to Ben. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this movie. I know Andrew has. Have you ever seen The Perfection? Like with Allison Williams and the girl from Dear White People, where they like basically battle with cellos.
Mm-hmm.
That entire sequence in the background literally sounds like a song from that movie, where they're just basically battling to death with their cellos. It just sounds like two cellos going at each other.
But at what cost?
A good cost, because Michelle literally did. What did she do, Monty?
That.
Oh my God. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm really glad that this looks like it kind of came down to Michelle swaying the decision more. If anything, I could see Michelle kind of being the one that's just like, bro, no, we're not voting out Parvati. We're not doing that, because Michelle really doesn't. Michelle doesn't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
And it won her the game once. And she, I mean, it's the fact that she was shown with so much like social content, and like people were like, her tribe mates were eating it up. Like Denise was like, girl, what? Like, what's the tea? Like, why would I have to do that? Like, Michelle is good at shit talking, and that is good, especially with a bunch of crazy fraternities. Yeah.
I think this is the first time I don't know if it's a long time or ever, where Survivor has accurately edited and like positively edited the power a social game can have. Not just like, yes, it's a big strategic moment as well, but then the fact that they showed Michelle's social game instead of showed us her talking about her social game or someone else talking about her social game. They showed her social game in action, which I thought was, first of all, as a Michelle stan, amazing, and as a big social game advocate, like, social games are good and can win and like deserve the same respect as advantage and strategic and physical games, that this was like pretty cool to see and refreshing just to like see it on the Survivor screen.
It's a really good point.
Anything else from that whole sequence? Or Isaac shows us the picture.
I'm trying to think that basically, well, it was funny. I mean, not funny. It was just interesting because I think it's worth mentioning, Ethan and Parvati didn't really get a ton of their own content. A lot of the content came from Boston Rob. Like, Ethan kind of got shafted with us, so there wasn't a lot of Ethan this episode. We were kind of just left. I'm sure he will get Edge content. And
for sure.
I do think he might be one of the contenders to come back. I could see him possibly coming back just because he got so much preseason content. I feel like it's kind of the same thing with Tyson. Like, I just did not see Ethan going this early, because it's like, I feel like Ethan has a huge story to tell, but sometimes those stories don't end up getting told fully, because that's the kind of the evilness of Survivors. Sometimes people with stories leave in the first week of the 39 days.
Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think his like story per se is over, because like, and since we're bringing edit into this, I want to bring like articles and NDAs and stuff. I know they can't say much on like their times there, but like, I think he did an interview with like ET or something, where they asked him, "Are you happy with like what happened?" And he says like, "Yeah," which I know you can't really say no, but like, I don't know. I don't think he. Okay, I do think Natalie's gonna come back realistically, but like I one think he has a shot, and like two, I think like I don't know. I'd just be thinking about Ethan Zahn a lot. I think I think that there's more to him to show, and I feel like he was like one of the first people to get like confessional like about like his cancer recovery and stuff, and like I don't know. I just feel like it'd be a missed opportunity if that wasn't shown. Which, that being said, they can still show it on the Edge. So,
I would like to say that, like piggybacking on top of that to like go off more. His confessional, like his like exit confessional, I guess, even though he's like still there, was basically like, I've gone to the edge of extinction. Like I can handle this. So that sounds like something that's like I've battled back from extinction before, and I'm gonna do it again, and watch me. And that's like I could see him actually doing it. Like, why include that specific sentence? Like he got one sentence, but he probably did like a 15-20 minute interview with them. So why pick that one sentence out of all the 15-20 minutes?
Yeah.
Is it time?
Do you feel like it's time, Isaac? Do you think it's time?
Is it
Can I bring up one quick thing? Can I say one quick thing that we didn't say before?
It never ends.
The scene where Boss and Rob went to go confront Michele and Jeremy, and Michele the entire time was denying everything, and Jeremy was doing that weird winky thing, like, the plan is not poverty. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Funny as hell.
So cringy. But it was funny. There were a lot of funny moments in this episode.
Yeah.
I think Michele is the only person who's figured out with Boston Rob, just lie your ass off. Like, don't give him like weird half truths. Just like lie. Like,
Boston Rob's someone that you should not give an inch. In this episode, Adam gave Rob the whole fucking mile. Like, it was.
That's because he's a fanboy and he wants to get drilled by all of them, and it's so disgusting to watch.
But
Adam said, "I'll never go against you, Rob, father."
Literally, like, what the fuck?
Monty, no.
Still,
the people on Spotify have no idea what I just screamed at you about.
Sorry, go ahead, Ange.
I made a nasty face.
I do have one more thing that I do want to mention that I feel kind of got overshadowed by the impact of the vote out, because obviously, like, Ethan was like beloved. Like, everybody's first reaction to Ethan voting out was just like screaming. But from an actual strategic standpoint, Ethan was a threat. I do think I would have loved Boston Rob getting voted out, but Ethan, I feel like, here's the thing, and I was thinking about this a lot this morning while I was in my brekkie.
You're so weird.
Bagel. Boston Rob has next to nothing in this game. Also, when it comes to if they swap, the tribe mates that he would be swapping onto a tribe with voted out his wife and fired a warning shot from across the ocean. Like, Boston Rob doesn't really, I don't think he really has anything. Maybe that was some of Jeremy's mentality in keeping Rob around, is like, Rob can be an easy vote out maybe at the swap or the early merge, because I really don't think Rob is getting farther than early merge. And yeah, he might have like Tyson, he might have Tim, but Rob really doesn't have anything. Ethan, or he at least has next to nothing. Ethan has an entire tribe of people on the other side that he could build relationships with and become a threat by. Like, I don't think it was stupid to get rid of Ethan. I just think maybe it wasn't the move for this round. But in the long run, Ethan was a threat socially. Yes, Isaac.
Yeah, like I agree 110%. And like before I go into like my Michele like hyperbolic like rant whatever, I want to preface this with like Michele pulled off a beautiful move. Like I would I've liked to see it been like Rob, yeah, of course. Like I love Ethan, but at the same time like we said last week that Ethan was probably like set up really well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in my experience and just like things that I like notice, I feel like social players usually get targeted by other social players and they knock each other out of the running. And with this, I feel like it was Michele Fitzgerald who has a killer social game, as we just said, recognizing Ethan Zahn, who also has a killer social game, as a threat. And so I think like she played it beautifully. As much as I hate to admit it, like, go her. Like, I guess I'm rooting for her.
It was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking to watch.
Mhm.
Like, I felt like my stomach dropped. I had a hunch it was gonna be him because he posted this thing where he was like 2 hours before the episode aired, where he was like, not to interrupt Survivor, but he started talking about like cannabis, and I was like, they never do that unless something bad happens. Like, they usually want like all eyes to be on the
Yeah.
episode itself. So I was kind of like, that's not great.
True.
But
Isaac, did you want to get to your
drama.
creation?
my Michele hate blog, yeah. So here she is.
Oh.
There's a lot going on here. Okay,
God.
so this is Michele Fitzgerald. She's on the Thought Tribe. All right. This is the tears that she cried as she was, murdering your faves. Her unibrow was manicured before she went out, so it's cool.
Okay, that's good.
This vein in her neck is very prevalent. This her teeth are very sharp because she sharpened them up before she went out there, obviously, to rip fucking jugulars out like your face. There's Ethan Zahn's flesh and blood stuck within her teeth. And I don't know if you noticed, but he's down here decapitated because she bit off his fucking head. And her torch is still lit.
For this episode?
Absolutely.
Yay.
Oh.
She does have a good wing, though, because Michele, very pretty. She do have a good wing.
Oh my god.
Well,
honestly, I'm calling the MoMA tomorrow.
Michele, they're gonna remake Jennifer's body, and it's gonna be Michelle's body, and Michele Fitzgerald is gonna basically just be the next Megan Fox.
Yeah,
it's what she deserves.
I'm calling Michele Fitzgerald and then the police because
y'all should tag her. I want to see what she says. Oh, I forgot because mostly the bottoms were mad about Ethan Zahn leaving, as Andrew so eloquently put in his Twitter that he didn't at. Me, anyways. She's saying, I hate gay people.
Oh my god. Add Michele to the list right this second.
Is she wrong for that opinion?
No,
she's not.
And we support her fully.
Yes, I'm gay. Yes, I'm homophobic. We exist.
Yeah, so like the
right.
FCC or whoever.
You're gay?
And homophobic, you heard it here.
A lot of people would be scared.
Spotify and whatever, don't take us down.
Yeah, we're just performing self-hatred. So I feel like going into next episode, who are we looking at as a?
Can I say something?
We've already kind of talked about it. We're high on Tony and whatever he's smoking.
You're high on Tony.
We're high on Michele. If I'm not mistaken, I saw one Gage and one Monty also eating birds from a few weeks ago. But we're not going to talk about that. Who else do we think?
I see one Gage hand up right now also.
So this was actually something that went through my head as soon as this episode aired. What are the odds Michele goes pre-merge? Because, and let me explain why. So Michelle's confessional, the only confessional that we got from Michele during the premiere was how she wanted to show that she deserved her win. And then her final words before she went into the tribal, before it goes to commercial break, was, I think people are now starting to see that I deserved my win. What if that was just her whole story arc in these 3 episodes and she's going to get voted out next?
I would hope not, because that would suck.
I would hope not.
But it could happen.
I think... Yes, Isaac.
No, you go first.
Okay. I think that's where her story, like, that is going to be the point where it ends, but I don't think we've reached that point yet. Because she did say, like, I'm starting to show why, like, I deserve my season. And, like, it seemed like this was, like, the opening chapter of at least a couple chapters. Like, she's well connected to Jeremy. She's, like, got a drive. I feel like her story goes at least, like, 2 or 3 more episodes, at the very least. That's also kind of wishful thinking on my part. So, yes, I suck.
I do think with like storytelling, like if you want to keep people watching, you want to give them like the most not necessarily like a happy ending, but a good ending. And with that being said, I think with like most of these people, I feel like you'll know if they've reached the end of their story, because like with this being not only like all-star season, but a milestone season at that, with it being like the 20th anniversary and all these people we already have emotional attachments to are back. Like I feel like if the editors are smart, they're not gonna make us feel as if we're missing out on anything, because like this is like the last hurrah for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last time we're gonna see a fair amount of these people.
Yeah.
Like I'm certain of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Unless one of those people is Ben.
So who do you think is like? So who do you think after this tribal is in the best position on Sele? Because I have an opinion. I don't know if you guys will. I don't think it's Michele.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually Michele either. I think it depends on literally one
I think
thing.
It's Denise.
I think it's Denise.
I think it literally depends on. Yeah, I would also say Denise, but it depends on if this possible far out scenario where Rob and Parvati team up with Adam and Denise and somehow demonize Jeremy and Michele for leaving Adam out on the boat. I think it's a reach. Oh my god. I think it's I think it's a reach, but I literally just don't see a scenario where Denise gets out, and I feel like that puts her in the best position in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
If she has an idol, so if she is in danger, there's a potential of her playing it anyway.
What's sad is I forgot she had an idol. Like I was considering all the factors and not even considering her idol. Like
But
the idol just helps out 10.
That's actually a good
Yeah.
sign.
No, because I think
I'm good without it.
I think there's arguments to target every other person on Sele except her, because I still think she is kind of attached to Adam. And unless it's Adam going on a revenge rampage specifically against her, which I don't know why he would, because like it was Michele that flipped the vote.
Well, I don't think Denise wasn't on it. Never mind.
Yeah, she was.
They all were at that point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
everyone.
Fuck Denise, fuck Ben, fuck Jeremy, fuck Michele. I hate them all.
I think because if
Okay,
people are
Pippa.
going to be targeting, if people are going to be targeting, like, it's kind of like pairs right now plus Ben just sort of like floating, and if people are going to target each of the other pairs, so like Rob Parv and Jeremy and Natalie, there's arguments for either of those 4 to go, like either person from those 2 pairs. But if it's Adam and Denise, like Denise isn't going. Like
they're gonna target Adam.
They're gonna target Adam first, unless it's Adam's specific targeted revenge against Denise, which we just have no reason to think that would come.
I don't think he'd do it.
Unless Adam and Ben just like let it drop that Denise has an idol and they try to flush it.
Yeah, that's the only reason, but that's a very slim scenario, I would say.
I feel like this is so weird to say in relation to Adam, but I feel like on this tribe specifically, Denise has a really good shield in Adam right now, because if their duo's targeted, I don't see a lot of scenarios where they target Denise over Adam. I mean, they targeted Adam tonight. Why wouldn't they do it again?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I ship Ben and Adam.
Yeah, me too.
So does he.
Who do we think?
Denise is shaking.
Who do we think from Dick Hall seems to? We already kind of touched on it. I mean, I say Tony is in the best spot over there, but if there's any other people we want to shout out,
I think it's Kim.
From.
oh my god.
I
Sorry,
mean,
go ahead.
from the edit standpoint, yeah, it's Tony, but also from a game standpoint, I think like Yule's in a really good spot right now, specifically. Even though he doesn't quite have the edit to back it up, I think if this was the merge tribe right here and like Sele just did not exist and this was the final 9, I think Yule would be set up in a very good position to go to final 5, final 4.
Yeah.
Same with Sophie.
Same with Sophie. I literally think just I hate saying it. I just feel like Kim's fucked. If they
Yeah.
I just feel like it's Kim. If you ostracize someone that hard at one tribal, at the next tribal, I feel like it's not going to be that much of a difference unless something drastically changed in the plans.
Well, like, Kim has the idol, and then Sophie has the other half. Do you think Sophie should look Kim dead in the eye and go, no?
That's another thing. Sophie, so the technicalities with that idol, does Kim have an idol now? I'm confused.
We don't.
Sophie has to give it back.
But when does she have to give it back?
Whenever.
Whenever. She doesn't have to.
Because Adam gave his back like 3 hours after getting it. Like, I think it literally just has to be like, I'm giving you my idol, and that's enough for anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then,
like in,
yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the same thing happened in Edge of Extinction, like when Rick Devens got the idol from like when he returned, and he's like, I have to give this person a half, and then they have to hold it. I think it was either till the next day or after the next tribal.
It was after
and
tribal.
Then David held it, and then Rick Devens asked for it back, and David said, no, I'm gonna keep it, and then didn't give it back to him until a round or 2 later.
Until at tribal during the freak out tribal. Or like right
Joe
before
went
the
home.
freak out tribal.
Well, Joe went home, and then the next episode, Rick Devens asked for it back, and David said no, and then Eric went home, and then after Eric went home, he asked for it back, and David said yes.
I forgot Joe was in Edge of Extinction. Sorry, go ahead.
We all do, but I mean...
I don't think these idols function that way. I don't think there's like a determined time where the other person has to hold on to the half that's given to them.
Yeah.
I have no clue. I feel like, though, if Kim does end up being saved either by, like, Sophie being like, okay, we can't target Kim because I'm kind of working with her now, or Kim saves herself with the idol, then it's probably just Tyson. And if it's not Tyson, it's Sandra, and if it's not Sandra, then I don't know who the hell would go from that tribe.
Could honestly be, like, Nick or Wendell. Like, I could see if something crazy happens and like Tony and Sarah team up with like some outsiders and pull someone in and like some crazy shit goes down. Sarah uses her steal a vote or something. And then
I feel like
we just kind of have a non-factor round where Nick or Wendell go home.
I feel like at this point, just because we can't decide unless a lot happens next episode, I feel like Saley's just going to go back to tribal again.
Yeah, I feel like that's where we are.
Yeah, I'm saying all of this, and like,
Saley.
It's going back.
Sorry.
I feel like back to sort of what we were talking about earlier. Saley's really the like pre-merge story, and they're setting to call up to be the merge story.
Yeah.
Alright.
Saline nasal spray.
And that's why I think we only have like good reads for like who's in a good spot and who's going to go far, because we don't really need to know who's in a bad spot and going to go next, because there's not going to be anyone who goes next.
Yeah, I agree.
Alright.
Well, I have nothing else. I loved it.
It was a good episode, yeah.
So,
Anyone else have any other thoughts?
I'm good.
we covered everything.
If we're all good, Isaac can read the list and we'll do our farewells.
Give a shout out. All right, Isaac. Give us the enemies.
Enemies of the podcast today include Sarah Lucina, I almost said Tommy Vlachos, Tony Vlachos, Adam Klein, Angelina Keeley, Ralph Kaiser, Rob Mariano, Denise Stapley, Sophie, Michelle, and Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's our player of the week or whatever?
Andrew?
Player of the week. Oh, like this our shout
Our
out.
shout out. Yeah, who's our shout out?
I wanted to, just because I've been seeing her on social media a lot lately, and I just have to remember sometimes I have a deep love for this player. But Chelsea Walker, beautiful.
Who?
Soul. Yeah.
Chelsea
exactly.
Handler.
Chelsea Handler, that woman who is used as an archetype by that other woman who thinks being mean is a personality trait. But anyway, did I just shade that woman who goes on Rob Has a Podcast once a year?
I'll find out her name and I'll put her on there.
Angie Kantz, put her on the list.
Yeah.
Angie Kantz, enemy of the podcast.
Angie.
The state. I don't like it that woman does. But anyway, yeah. I just wanted to shout out Chelsea Walker for being a real hoe and probably never coming back to Survivor because Jeff Probst doesn't care about women.
Valid.
Unless they're blonde. So I saw on a leak, apparently, Survivor FBI, please don't shoot me in the head, but apparently second chance invitations have already started going out, and Vince got one. So
can I say something?
Gage, did you get one?
Gage, did you get one?
Yes. Yes, of course. Well, first off, where did you hear that from? Okay, let's also put this disclaimer right now. We're going to talk about casting spoilers. So if you want to hear about that, go ahead. If not, stop listening.
We got the Redmond rule going, so that's casting.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So, did you get the Redmond newsletter this week?
Was it a Redmond newsletter? I just saw Vince shared screenshots.
Well, a Redmond newsletter went out this week, and Redmond said Second Chances 2 is canceled. Next 2 seasons are going to be all newbies.
Oh, shit. Okay, well then that is fake. Holy shit.
Is that why he put out the... No. Do you think he put it out because, like, it did get canceled and the NDA doesn't apply?
Oh, maybe. That would make sense.
This is going in my cringe comp.
Or
Vince Mua, enemy of the podcast.
Or he got the text, like they sent out the text to the players and then they canceled it and had to be like, sorry, it's not happening now.
Who else was supposed to go on? Do you guys know?
I heard Nick Majorano.
God. Why? Why? No offense to Nick.
I know that Reed from San Juan del Sur was like sucking Jeff Probst's stick hard to get on.
And then he came on like Reddit and everything. So like there's a good chance he may have contacted Reed.
Wow.
What's weird is I only know men.
So I don't know any of the women. Then they must have contacted players.
Oh yeah.
Then been like, oh, we're actually canceled. So that was probably what the screenshot was because I didn't read the post.
Yes.
Fully. Yeah. And it was like literally before the podcast. Oh wow, that's shady.
Yeah, because what they do is like for casting is like what they do is like if they don't have a set theme and everything else, so they'll just reach out to people and just try to get interest before they make a decision. That's probably what they did, and then they decided, oh, we're not going to do this anymore.
Well, I wonder why they didn't though. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like I know they always have players on standby that they're kind of contact with, like in general, like they just have people on standby constantly, but like this was like in the leaks, at least this was like heavily discussed in like the leaks and like the subreddits, like, so I feel like it feels a little different this time, but like not just like, we'll bring you back like when we have a season happening. This was like the season seemed like it was happening and then it wasn't.
Mhm.
I feel. Oh yes, Isaac.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I feel like we should dedicate a whole podcast episode to this at some point,
I do too.
but we should wrap it up.
When we find time.
Yes,
Yeah,
sometime in our lives.
because we have so many interesting things to say.
I just,
And-
I don't know.
No, go ahead, Isaac. That's what I
Go,
was gonna say.
Isaac.
I don't quite understand why they would like cancel second chances too, especially when they have like such a wide pool of people. Like just thinking back in like the past few seasons, like they have people. Like I don't quite understand, and like I think not only do they have people like I personally would like to see again. Allie,
Mhm.
Chrissy, not necessarily Vince, but like
Yeah.
Kelly.
other.
But if he came back, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
Yeah. I think the reason probably if there's a reason why, I mean, I don't know production, whatever, but I feel like if there's a reason why, they probably want to like they might just want to give all the attention to this season, so just having an all-star season immediately after this again kind of usurps like the power that Winners at War does
Yeah.
have.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't buy that though. Like I
Mhm.
don't, because
There, I
like
just
when
think it's production being shady.
yeah, like second chances ended like, and then right after we were already getting like spoilers for Game Changers, like people getting
Yeah.
contacted and stuff. So like I don't quite. Maybe they are waiting until Winners at War ends, and then they're like, all right, back on. And like, granted, it was a 3-season separation rather than a 2. Well, it was kind of a 2 because Co Wrong was filmed before.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's really no real reason. I don't know. We can speculate all we want, but we don't know.
I don't buy it either. But with that, we can wrap it up if we want to.
I want to see T-Bird back there.
All right.
Wow.
Does any? Well, I think that's all we've got.
I'm all good.
So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Sekou's Bunch. We'll be back. Pippa will be back next week.
Monty will be gone next week.
I
Dan,
will be gone next week. Pippa will be back. Stan Sekou
Dan Sekou.
Stan Chelsea Walker.
and Stan Chelsea.
Fuck you, Gage.
Is it over?